Hi everyone. Today we are going to talk about 4.7 zeros by quadratic formula. So you are going to be able to find the zeros of quadratic equations by using what? Quadratic formula, not by using the calculator. All right. Then before we start our lesson, can you start with the do now? So please solve the equation below. So 3z plus 28 equal to z squared. So you will have 4 minutes, right? Okay, let's do it together. Because the value, the expressions are in the both side, it means the two functions are equal, the same, right? But to solve the equation, you need to put everything in the same side, right? Because z square is a positive, you better keep it here and move 3z and 28 to this side. So if you move it, when you move it, you change the sign, right? So z squared minus 3z minus 28 equal to 0, like this. Even though the left side is 0 and then this is supposed to be in the right side, you can switch the side, doesn't matter, right? A equal to B or B equal to A, same thing, right? So commutative property. So after this, how do you solve it? Now we need to find the two numbers, right? When you find the two numbers, their sum is equal to B, negative 3. Their product multiplication equal to negative 28. So what are the two numbers? So we find out when you cannot, I found already negative 7 and 4, but when you cannot find it quickly, what should you do? You should find out all the possible, the pairs of the factor, pair factors of 28, right? So 1, 28, 2, 14, and 3 is not good, so 4 and 7. And then when you multiply, it's a negative. So one of them is negative, but bigger one must be negative because sum is negative. So 4 and negative 7. So 4 plus negative 7 is negative 3, right? So if you get the two numbers, now you write down factors, z minus 7, z plus 4. It's not Kim's method, it's not opposite, all right? So z minus 7, z plus 4. So if you get the factor, you are not done. Don't stop here because you are supposed to solve. You need to get the zero value. So what is zeros? What should you do? You should set each factor equal to 0, right? Like this. So z minus 7 equal to 0, z plus 4 equal to 0. Then if you solve it, z is 7 here and negative 4 here. These are the answers. But if you use the Kim's method, what happened? Kim's method, so your calculator give you 0 is a negative 4. Let's say but there will be another one, 7 too. But let's say you found only one here. It's okay, right? But do not write down this on the paper if you take the test because this is abnormal. So don't show this one as a work. And then what should you do is you write down the factor from here. So when you write down factor, it's opposite, right? So z plus 4. And then you should find out the other factor by multiplying z times what is the z square? Yes, the z. 4 times what is the negative 28? Yes, minus 7. That way you find out the other factor, right? And then the rest is same step. So you set this factor equal to 0, and then answer is same. Everybody understand? Okay. So today's lesson. What if what if you cannot factor? How can you find the zeros of this function? You cannot factor it. X squared minus 6x plus 4 equal to 0. You try, but you cannot factor at all. Calculator will not help you. Yes, if you go to the second calculator, that will give you the decimals, but that's not exact value. So we should find out the exact value of this zero. How can we find it? Yes, we should use quadratic formula. But before we do it, now let's think about how many zeros are found in graph. Yes, 2 zeros, right? 2 zeros. How can we find out these zeros? I said we are going to use quadratic formula. So what is the quadratic formula? Is it familiar to you? Yes, x equal to negative b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2 times a. So this formula will be given, so you don't need to memorize, but you better know. So you only thing you should know is what is A, what is B, what is C, and then plug them in and simplify, right? That's all we do. So let's figure out what is A. A is 1, right? B is here, negative 6. C is 4. Everyone get it? Then now let's plug in this 1 to the A here, B here, C is here, right? So if you plug in, be careful. When you substitute negative numbers, you better put it in the parentheses or you'll be confused. So negative, negative 6, because negative B. Many times I see many students miss this one and this negative because it has a negative. It's a negative and B is negative 6. And plus minus negative, please use a parenthesis, square minus 4 times 1 times 4 over 2 times 1. And then the rest is you simplify. When you simplify step by step, right? Let's go be patient and write down every step. So 6 minus minus becomes 6. Negative 6 squared becomes positive 36. And 4 times 1, 4 is 16. Or if you use a calculator only without the square root, you put it into the calculator, then you will get what? 20, right? 36 minus 16 is what? 20. Don't put the square root when you put it into the calculator because you need to show the step like this. Then are we done? No, we need to simplify the square root, right? So the square root 20 can be simplified. So if you see that 20 has a factor, which is, perfect square, then you should take it out. So can you think about any number, any perfect square as a factor of 20? Yes, 4, right? 4 times 5. So 4 can be taken out of the square root because 4 is a perfect square. So square root of 4 is 2, right? So you should do that. So you can write down 6 plus minus square root of 4 times 5. So 4 comes out as 2, right? So like this. Now, you should know this is plus minus here over 2. This is the two fractions are combined. But because of the 2 is denominator is a 2, common denominator is 2, but numerator is 6 and 2 square root of 5 was combined. So you need to change it to the two separate fraction, right? Like this. Two separate fraction. You should separate into the two fractions, 6 over 2 and 2 square root of 5 over 2. And then simplify. 6 over 2 is 3, 2 and 2 cancel out. And then you answer 3 plus minus square root of 5. This means you have two answers are here, right? One is 3 plus square root of 5, and the other one is 3 minus square root of 5. This is irrational numbers. You know what it means, irrational numbers, right? So we are done like this. Does everybody understand these steps? Now, I wanted to think about this. We have a discriminant. What is the discriminant? D. Discriminant is so b squared minus 4ac. All right, b squared minus 4ac, which is in the square root. So depending on this d discriminant, we can determine the function if the how many solutions or zeros if the function have. So we can determine without solving everything. Only by looking at this D, we can determine this, right? So how will you do it? So you can just simply calculate the b squared minus 4ac inside of the square root. And if this is positive, then you have a solution. If it is negative, negative comes out as imaginary number, right? So it's no solution. Imaginary number has no solution. So let's see. D is negative. D is less than 0, no solution, negative. But if D is equal to 0, this becomes 0 means this whole thing will be gone, right? You have only one solution, negative b over 2a, which is a vertex, right? Vertex becomes 0. Vertex becomes 0. So we call it double zeros. So it's a one solution, but twice, right? And then if this is greater than 0, you will have two separate, two, distinctive solutions, zeros, all right? That, so discriminant is d b squared minus 4ac, which is inside of square root. You can determine how many solutions quickly, all right? So in this case, d is what, 20, right? We did it. So two solutions. So now, so if you go to the Google Classroom, you can find out the questions. Please answer this. How do you determine the number of zeros in quadratic equation? How many zeros are there in the function? So I just explained it, right? Can you answer this in the Google Classroom question? After this, I needed to practice with this question and try to find out so what are the solutions. So after you try, you can compare your works with this. Okay. Be careful. B is 0. C is 98. But C is a big number. When you deal with a big number, you should not. There's a trick. I can give you a tip. Look at this. You simplify like this, right? The z will be gone. I will just keep going. So you have a negative here. 4 times 98. Don't multiply first because eventually we need to simplify. If you multiply, numbers become too big, then it's very hard to simplify. So don't multiply. So we know that 4 times 4 is a 4 square, right? 4 square will come out as 4. That's easier, right? So 4 comes out first. And then think about the number 98. So because number 98 is not too big, we can think about it. 98 is 2 times 49. Oh, 49 is again 7 square. The 7 square, 7 will come out. But before I move the 7, you see the 4 and 4 canceled, right? So here you don't have a 4 here because you canceled. Numerator, denominator have the same number, then you can cancel it, right? And then here 7, 49, 7 square comes out as 7. So you have an answer like this. All right? Okay. closed.